Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place where we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again my co-host Tocayo, Adrian. What's good, man?
Hey, what's up, dude? How's it going? Monday night. So, as I was telling you before we started recording, I'm tired, dude. It's been yesterday's run with Harvey just killed me, man.
Yeah, your 15K run. No joke, man. Yeah, and it's Monday. Mondays always have that tired feeling for sure. And to put matters worse, man, today's topic is kind of the epitome of a Monday topic. The PPG curse strikes again. We had just made our most recent video talking about where Sergiño Dest was going to move after his very good season with PSV so far. And this weekend he gets injured in a training knee injury. People are saying 9 months out, which obviously takes him out of the contention for Copa América this summer, and kind of puts a damper to a very good season he's had so far. Before we really get into who's gonna the meat of this video, who's gonna replace him at the Copa América, it's unfortunate because as we discussed, he was doing so well and he had kind of worked himself back to doing well for his club, and after he came out last week and said that Hamas he'd not go back to Barcelona. He's no chance. This happened. So he might not even have that choice. He might just go back because no one wants to buy him due to the injury now. But the PSV coach has said that there was talks already between them. They were advancing very well, and that this injury is not going to hamper it. It might make it a little more difficult to get it done. The transfer fee might change, the price, the salary might change, but They were talking about it, and they were already mentioning the fact that they want him to stay at PSV, and negotiations were going good. But yeah, this injury definitely does not help that, and doesn't help Dest in that if there were more suitors looking for him, that's probably gone now, other than PSV at this point, right?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, man. I mean, as you said, we're kind of we always make jokes like Galón is the salado one, but we keep on striking without skipping a beat.
Oh man!
But yeah, I mean we really hope that he gets better sooner rather than later. We'll see how much of an impact this will have. It's nice to hear that PSV is still in contention to get him signed. I assume they understand they probably won't have any other reasonable talent at a not so crazy price in the near future. So it's still a good option for him. We'll see what Barcelona has to say. I think they're more than willing to let him go. But this is not only a challenge for him, this is a challenge also for the USMNT as we face into Copa América, specifically because of the last game that Sergiño Dest wasn't available, and joescally had to take a sub for him. It wasn't necessarily great. So kind of an interesting approach, or not approach, but it's interesting position for Triple G, and we can really see how much of a strategist he is.
Yeah, if it was going to come down to, Triple G, this being a tournament that hopefully for him wins over fans for the USMNT and shows that he's developed and progressed as a coach, this is just a challenge he has to deal with, right? Every big nation has these types of injuries. And luckily for the USMNT, we're in a spot that 10 years ago, the team, wasn't in this spot. Back then, if you had your star from Europe player go down, you were screwed in that position. You had to go back and get a player playing in Liga MX, player playing in MLS, player playing in maybe lesser league than even the championship. But now the USMNT, as we know, has been sending so much talent to Europe that there's a plethora of right backs that can, or even full backs, or even midfielders that can go in there and kind of take over for Sergiño Dest. There is a drop off, as you mentioned. Joescally is the leading candidate to kind of go in there man for man, 1-for-1 replacement. But you and I, other than that match against Jamaica in the Nations League semifinals, we're fans of joescally. He's done well at Borussia Mönchengladbach. He's done well for the USMNT in the couple. I think he's played 9 matches for the USMNT. Other than that Jamaica game, and to be fair to him, everybody played pretty bad in that Jamaica game for the USMNT. But talking about who can replace Dest, I think he's the one on everyone's mind. Probably, like we said, after that performance against Jamaica, and people are weary of it. Not so much as eager as they were maybe before that match. But he's only 21 years old, a little younger than Dest. He already has 85 appearances for Mönchengladbach there in the Bundesliga. He has 1 goal, 3 assists in 32 appearances this season. So he's a proven player at just 21 years old. He has a lot of experience in Europe already. He may not offer the we know he likes to go up as well as Dest, but not he doesn't go as often and doesn't add that attacking prowess to that extent. We know that joescally can go up, but not to the extent that Dest likes to go. Doesn't have that technicality to beat opposition defenders or midfielders like we see Dest do. So, I mean, Scally, you think he's still, I think, the number one contention?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be fair with him. Maybe my initial comments came off wrong. I still think that he is the number one go to for replacing Sergiño Dest. If you take a look at the extensive list that we can probably discuss in this episode, he is by far, in my opinion, the most equipped player at this moment to replace Dest with the most successful rate. Yes, he might not be the best attacking right back. At the moment, but he offers something that maybe Dest wasn't necessarily good at, which is defending. To me, if you're a defender, no matter if you are right wing back or right back or whatever the case may be, your first and most important task on the field is to defend. And I think joescally, for the most part, does it very well. I think this specific tournament and position is for him to lose. He must have like awful appearances in the next upcoming friendlies, or just have a terrible poor end of the season with Mönchengladbach. But I see it significantly difficult for someone else to take the spot over him.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned he's more of a defensive-minded defender, which is something that Dest excels in the CONCACAF going forward because against CONCACAF opposition. Maybe this could be a blessing in disguise in having imagine Dest going up attacking against Brazil and then just being exposed completely. Maybe a more defensive-minded defender, fullback, is what the U.S. will need in this Copa America against more talented opposition, more technical opposition that can punish you for going up. But yeah, I mean, joescally, I guess number one contender there. But there are others, like we mentioned. I mean, the USA has plenty of defenders out there in Europe right now, even some here at home in the United States. Reggiecannon, another one that comes to mind, the QPR defender. Another one that's more known for his defensive capabilities rather than, being like Dest, as liking going forward as much as Dest. He's disciplined, right? He's very disciplined in his position. He just has strong tackles. He's reliable. But he obviously is leveled downward in terms of where he plays compared to, Sergiño Dest there in Eredivisie or joescally in the Bundesliga. Reggiecannon, we've seen him before. It's been a while since we've seen him for the USMNT, but I think this list that we have put together has probably been a while for a lot of these players that we've seen for the USMNT, just because Dest and to an extent as his backup Scally have pretty much made that position theirs. But Reggiecannon, I mean, another good option, right?
Yeah, I mean he was kind of out of a team for a while at the end of last season. He was able to find a spot at Queen's Park Ranger, if I'm not mistaken, in the championship. He's a constant regular player there. I think it's a good option because he has a lot of game time. I think he's a very interesting player. It's unfortunate to see him drop from the regular call-ups at the USMNT, but joescally and Sergiño Dest haven't made it easy for him. Yes, he's another strong defensive fullback that Triple G can take advantage of, but he's also quite decent when going forward. The thing that I like the most about Reggiecannon specifically is that he has a lot of stamina. He's one of those players that can go up and down the pitch, no questions asked, and he will have the same energy to defend as he has it to go in defensive. So it might be a good option, maybe not as the first choice for Triple G, but definitely a reliable bench player in the event that you see yourself in a pinch and you need more, I guess, endurance on the pitch against a more athletic or just overall better put together team when fighting for a chance in Copa America.
Yeah, or you're losing against someone 1 or 2-0 and you need more attacking prowess, right? He's kind of in the middle of Dest and Scally in that he attacks more than Scally, but attacks less than Dest, and defends as good as either. So he's a good option to have if you're down 1-0 and you need a goal and you need to put everybody going forward. He could, like I said, offer that more so than Scally can. But yeah, definitely, I think a good backup to have. Another guy that is available, Brian Reynolds, there at Westerlo. He has 31 appearances this season so far, registering 4 assists. But he's another one, like we said, like with Reggiecannon, one that we haven't seen in a while. He hasn't had a cap since the 2023 Gold Cup, where the USMNT crashed out and didn't do too hot there. Another youngster. He's only just 22 years old. But Brian Reynolds, also has that, like you said, with Reggiecannon, that athleticism, right? He's a versatile player. He could operate as right back or a right wing back, and just like Cannon, he's very speedy. He's very agile. He has a lot of stamina, and it allows him to cover ground very, very effortlessly and effectively, right? So he could contribute both defensively and offensively as well. Just kind of just shows you how the USMNT is pretty covered in this position here.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that I also enjoy about this option is that we don't really see Triple G often playing with three center backs, right? But in the rare occasions that when he does, Brian Reynolds is a good option because he also can play as a right wing back. And that is something that, for example, joescally or Reggie Cannon aren't necessarily keen on doing, right? They are great right backs, but they aren't necessarily uh, outstanding right wing backs, or they don't really play it that often. On the other hand, Brian Reynolds is actually capable of playing both at a decent level. So to me, that offers Triple G some flexibility in terms of, again, if you're in a pinch and you need to go up, or if you need to increase your defensive power in the very center of the pitch, right, on your box, and you want to have two escapes on the sides, then Brian Reynolds can prove to be a good option right there. It's going to be more difficult because on the wings you have way more talented players that can actually take that spot ahead of you. But it's just interesting. It's a good option. I think perhaps not even for the first choice, but a good bench or even third choice for the team if that's something that he's looking for. Because I don't think he's going to take more than two right backs to Copa America. But
right.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Looking at other options, kind of fringe options here. The two Juventus players, timweah and Weston McKennie. We've seen Allegri play timweah more so than Weston McKennie in the right back position this season. Not a natural right back, but he's been played there more so than his natural forward/right wing position at Juventus. This is an option if Triple G wants to go there. He'll definitely give that attacking prowess. More so even than Dest, but you'll lose a lot of quality in defensive, defense wise, and you'll miss him there at the right forward up there with Pulisic and whoever he decides to have as number 9, right? Because we know timweah has pretty much made that position his. So in a pinch, I guess he's an option. We've seen him play there for Juventus, but probably not what Triple G would want. And same with McKennie, right? I mean, we've seen him play there, and probably even less so. You would want to lose McKennie in your midfield, where you have him with Gio Reyna or Luca de la Torre or Tyler Adams, the midfield that we've seen dominate the CONCACAF recently. So I don't know. I don't think he'll go there. What are your thoughts on these two guys?
Yeah, I mean, if I was Triple G, I wouldn't necessarily entertain this thought unless it's like one extreme case, perhaps you're playing the extra extra minute, extra times in a quarterfinal, semifinal, and then you don't have any, and you want to bolster your offensive, not your defense. You can probably move timweah or westonmckennie there, but I will be severely disappointed if he chooses to go with one of these two players ahead of someone who actually plays on that position. When you have this, plenty, this huge roster, you have plentiful of players out there that can actually take the spot. So why would you compromise your squad and your game style and your strategy just to keep a couple of players happy? I guess like if it's gonna use timweah or westonmckennie as a right back just because he doesn't want them off the pitch, right? To me, he's compromising pretty much everything. He's putting ahead the needs of a couple of players, or his inability to keep the squad at bay in favor of the bigger impact for the overall team. So, yeah, I wouldn't. I think these are just break in case of emergency options. I wouldn't entertain any thought. Although we did see westonmckennie, I think in Nations League, play defensive.
He was playing defense for a while.
Yeah.
He got moved back. So it's something that he can do for sure.
I mean,
but
he didn't play bad. It's just that when you have players who naturally play that position and can probably do a better job. Why sacrifice someone like westonmckennie in a spot that he's not going to shine?
Right. And again, that was just a break in case of emergency, right? When you needed to
Exactly.
put more forwards or more, wingers in the squad and have more attack because you're looking for that goal. If I'm not mistaken, it was against Jamaica when they needed a goal. So, yeah, I mean, another option here, another youngster, Jonathan Gomez, a player that has friendly caps for both Mexico and United States and has yet to fully commit to their team. This will be a huge blow for Mexico if Jonathan Gomez, decides to, accept a call if he's called up here. But this could be a very enticing call up for Jogo. A way to really tie him to the United States, saying, Dest is out. We're going to bring you to Copa America. We don't promise to start you, but you'll get the experience and you might play, right? I mean, how are you going to reject that? I mean, he's not going to be called up for Mexico. At least I don't think so at this point. He definitely lacks the experience of the other guys. Still only 20 years old, but he's already made 27 appearances for Mirandés this season and so far in the Spanish second division. And he also might be in consideration for the Olympic team later this summer, which kind of rules him out if he is indeed in consideration for that team. But Jonathan Gomez, I think Mexico would hate to see him go.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I am not in favor of this of this option for the USMNT. Jogo, you should say no because you're not gonna play with the USMNT. If there's a chance for you to maybe appear in Copa America, it could be with Mexico. Although I also see it very difficult as well. I don't like it just because I think this is a very interesting option for Mexico in a position where we have. I mean, we probably discuss this later on a different episode, but yeah, great option. It's awesome that we're discussing it. I am gonna say no. Triple G, don't even think about it because I think he will do a better service for Mexico than the USMNT.
Yeah, Adrian's El Tri bias coming out here. No, I don't blame you. I
Yes.
don't blame you. Definitely. I think if Jogo, personally, if I were Jogo, I'd lean more to Mexico as well, just because I think you'll get more options there.
Yeah, I
Look
mean,
at this long list of USA players.
exactly, and if you get a chance to go back to Real Sociedad and have a huge impact, you still have a better chance for playing for Mexico than for the USMNT because you have at least joescally and Dest that are ahead of you.
And who are only 1 or 2 years older than you. I mean, they're still young.
Exactly.
It's not like you're fighting against a 30-year-old that's going to lose that position soon. Like
Hmm.
all these guys are under 23 to under 24 years old.
Exactly.
So
Whereas if you see Julian Araujo, well, I mean, he's what, 22 years old, but if you see Jorge Sanchez, you only have Julian Araujo who's playing at Las Palmas. So if you play Real Sociedad, he stays at a smaller team. Better chances, I think.
right. Another one looking up here, Marlon Fossey, the 25-year-old Standard Liège player that plays in the Standard Liège Belgian Pro League. He's yet to make an appearance for the USMNT senior squad, but he has some appearances for the youth teams back in the day. A guy that moved to the UK at 11 years old and grew up in the Fulham Academy, but has really been hampered in his his career because of injuries. He's now finding consistency. He has 24 appearances this season, 1 goal, 2 assists with Standard Liège. And I'm not going to pretend to add a lot of info here. I haven't seen him play much. I just know he's a good fringe option for the USMNT. One that, like I said, hasn't had a seniors call up, but definitely, 10 years ago, when could we have said that there was this other guy that playing, at Standard Liège, to add to the 5 or 6 that are already playing in Europe at that position. It just goes to show the USMNT having that depth right now that they do, right?
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, even if you, I mean, we keep on saying that there's like a USMNT A, B, and C, right? I don't even think he is considered for like the USMNT C squad, probably D squad, because I think Triple G will prefer someone in the MLS over Marlon Fossey. I don't really know the
Right.
guy. I was surprised when I saw him as an option that you put down on our agenda on the list. But yeah, I think this is a very far reach. Perhaps everyone else is injured or playing at a different under 20, under minor USMNT team, or it's one of those situations where like, hey, we got to play the Intercontinental Classico and no one wants to share any players. Marlon Fossey, you're in, something like that.
Right. And I think, no, nothing against Marlon Fossey. I think
Yeah.
he'd be a good call up. Call him
Uh-huh.
up, but you're not going to call him up for the Copa America right now when he has never played with these players.
Mhm.
Like you said, maybe call him up for Intercontinental Classico, some friendlies, get him used to the squad, get him used to Triple
Camp
G's,
Cupcake.
Can Cupcake, used to Triple G's philosophies, get him to know the players, and then kind of start making him. Maybe he'll be B squad, maybe he'll be A squad material. We don't know, but you're not going to bring somebody that you have never implemented into your system
Yes,
straight
sir.
into Copa America.
Mhm.
And talking about his system and people he's implemented, others that we have here on the list are his MLS favorites, Shaq Moore and DeAndre Yedlin, who I think at this point shouldn't be called up. I hope aren't called up, but if they are called up, one of them, I won't be surprised because who we have as coach, Triple G.
Uh-huh.
But old favorites of Triple G, Shaq Moore. The last time we saw him in the USMNT's match against Slovenia earlier this year at the Camp Cupcake, where USMNT lost 1-0, he was very, very poor. I think we rated him as one of our negatives in the 6 things we learned, and a lot of the media outlets also kind of mentioned how poor he was in that match. So hasn't been called up since, but that's an option. And DeAndre Yedlin, who as well as one of the I guess would be one of the older guys, one of the vets of the team, but has lost what he had at one point, which was his speed and physicality. He no longer has that, and I think he's really just kind of phased his way out. But yeah, I mean, those are other options, I guess, if you want to consider MLS guys.
If you want to, I mean, honestly, I think again, Triple G must be crazy if he is gonna call one of these 2 guys ahead of any other ones that we just mentioned.
Yeah, but we've seen him do crazy things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, Adrian. So this is a topic we didn't expect to make. I mean, his Dest injury just happened this weekend, but big news for the USMNT camp. But yeah, I mean, Adrian, as we wrap up this episode, dude, where can our listeners find us?
They can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Instagram. We post stuff every now and then.
Yeah, so make sure to follow us on your preferred social media platform of choice, and make sure to stick it here at PPG and puro pinche gol. Our next video here is going to be talking El Tri Mexico, what they must do, what changes they must implement going into Copa América for Jimmy to have a more successful, or at least have a chance of being more successful in that tournament. So stick it here at puro pinche gol, and let us know in the comments below. Unfortunate, obviously, this Dest injury, but who would you like to see replace him at Copa América? Do you think this will affect his chances of moving on from Barcelona this summer? Let us know definitely in the comments below. We like interacting with you guys. Adrian, man, good episode. I'll see you in the next one, brother.
Always a pleasure. Take it easy, man.
See you, man.
Dose.